Welcome to another episode of Beyond Limits. Beyond Limits is a program where we talk about everything that happens around the globe, from technology to business to politics to education or anything else that you may want us to talk about. What we try to do in this program is to bring you a different perspective, something that you may not have heard before. In today's program, we will be talking about education and learning. But we will not be just talking about the education and learning how we have it today. We will actually be diving into the history, and we'll be going back centuries or even thousands of years, and we will check how the education was done at that time. Was it a formal education there, or was it just a transfer of knowledge in the form of stories and themes and pictures and some sort of scribbles, which we later became into writing? Or was it something else? When the civilizations actually started becoming the civilizations. So we will look at all those things, and then we will see what kind of sport the students had at that time and how it got developed and what kind of luxury do we have today available to us in case we want to learn. To look at all those things, I am honored to have Humayun Hafiz Hadrani with me, who works with the Ministry of Enterprise and Advanced Education with the Government of Alberta. And he has an extensive teaching background. He has taught several courses in many private universities. And even now, he takes active part in the education and the community work. Humayun, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much.
We'll be going into the details. I mean, education has been your business for quite some time, and even now you're working with the Ministry of Education. So in this capacity, you are well versed with the Canadian system, especially the province of Alberta. But of course, different systems have been followed at different times in different countries. When we talk about education, let's go back into the history and tell our viewers what education is. Is it just merely, learning something from a piece of paper, or is it transfer of knowledge? Does it have to have some sort of mentor, or it could be, anything else?
Well, theoretically, we can think it might be possible that the cave children long ago used to go to a special cave where there was a teacher and they got some education, but it's quite unrealistic to think like that. What happened in the past was that most of the education from one generation to the other was passed on as learning of stock of values, some traditions, some culture, and their behavior. Mm-hmm. And as those children grew up, they learned those things and then passed on to the next generation after them. And as this education became more complex, as the societies and the culture became more complex, specific people used to teach specific skills. For example, hunting, gathering, and then the stuff that that was done at home. That might have been taught by the women of that time to their daughters. Mm-hmm. So based on those specific jobs that people used to do, and there were not many because there was no industry at that time.
Exactly.
People used to get their education just by demonstration and copying.
So basically what we can say is that every education that was provided at that time was a kind of specified or special education, specific to a certain role of life at that time.
It's quite possible that it happened that way because.
But we do not have any written account of.
We do not, because most of this history lies in the prehistoric era, which means that we do not have any written account of that time.
So, but people still used to communicate. They still used to talk. They had some sort of language to exchange their views even at that time.
Yeah, there could have been some spoken languages. People used to speak definitely. And converse with each other, but there was no written language until even about 5,500 years ago from today.
So when we look at these histories and these cultures, we can go back, and we do find a lot of things that come out in archaeology, and we see from that some of the civilizations were quite advanced for their time. And they were building nice houses, and they had cities which were actually planned. And at the same time, we find some of them that were not advanced. And now today, scientists and archaeologists and historians are somehow able to read a lot of things from there, and they're able to convey a lot of information about those cultures, about those places to us. So definitely they have some sort of system where they're able to get this information from. So these civilizations actually had some sort of system to preserve their history or to, to convey that knowledge to us.
Yeah, actually, when we speak about education and writing, we think of books and scrolls and written information for the purpose of transferring it to the next generation.
Right.
But definitely there were some other ways to represent their thought process.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we see that there are pictures found in caves which were much earlier than the invention of writing. So they used to draw the animals that they are hunting, and then they used to draw themselves with spears running after those animals. So that kind of written expression or drawn expression is present, is found in several archaeological sites. Also, from the planning or advancement point of view of any culture, we can dig up a city, and from the archaeological site, they can find out how advanced the civilization at that time was. And there have been many civilizations who built big structures and complex structure and planned cities much millennia from now, many millennia ago.
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about these pictures and these writings, so of course some of the nations were using pictures to express themselves. Now one picture might be telling you a whole story, one picture might be telling you just one word. Whereas on the other hand, in some of the older cultures, we find some sort of writings as well.
Yeah, writing actually started. There are multiple accounts. Since again, this is part of some written history, but you still cannot date specific origins of writing at different places. But one thing which stands out based on research is Egypt and the area which is currently called Ethiopia. There was some hieroglyphic writing system developed in Egypt, as well as at about the same time there was some writing developed in the present-day Ethiopia, which was at that time the civilization of Mesopotamia.
Mm-hmm.
And those two had actually evolved into all of the other written expressions that are present today.
Okay, so in that case, can we say that this way of expressing themselves with the pictures and drawings and stuff, and expressing themselves with some sort of writing, it's not like one evolved into the other. There were two separate systems that were actually evolving in parallel?
There may have been more than two.
Okay.
Because human race was evolving and developing in different pockets at that time. They did not, most of them did not have any link with each other. But what from the dating of those old stone carvings and other artifacts, we see that the pictorial hieroglyphic writing system developed in the present-day Egypt area.
Mm-hmm.
And that came with those early structures as well. We know about the pyramids and the other structure that they had, which later on was adapted by the Greeks for their alphabet as well.
Oh, okay.
But the same system actually also was taken by was converted into the Cyrillic script, which was taken or used by the Russian language as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But at the other hand, the language that got developed in Mesopotamia was it is said to have been, the first book was written by a person named Hanok.
Okay.
He's in some literatures, parts of literature, he's also known as Enoch. And in some Muslim traditions, he's also said to be Hazrat Idris alayhi salam.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
who was one of the ancestors of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, and from the generation of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam.
Okay. So when we talk about these, writing systems and stuff, we understand that they were developed maybe over some time. So of course there must have been some way of transferring this knowledge from one generation to the other. Was it like, do we find any account in the history where we see that some sort of school was set up where this knowledge was being transferred to the students, to the next generations, or was it like from family to family, or was it in some sort of, as you mentioned earlier, maybe a cave where kids were sitting and learning?
Yeah.
What do we know about that?
The major change that we see in the evolution of humankind and their behavior is after the invention of writing, because the transfer of information suddenly got a venue a major highway for going from one generation to the other, and even after that.
That was their technological advancement at that time,
yes,
probably.
that was one of the biggest ones, and we see that the major advancement even in religion happened after that time, and we see a lot of the information was able to be preserved and moved on to the next generation, and until many generations. There are some scripts and scrolls and books still available from many thousands of years ago that we keep finding. The evolution of these two, hieroglyphic and the other writing system, actually was adopted into many other nations as well at the same time. When so it got started in Africa, in Egypt and Ethiopia about 3500 BC, and later on we see that we find some written books, parchments and scrolls from Greece which date back to about 1100 BC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also in China they have found some bone fragments on which the writing was written. Mm-hmm. The papyrus or the other items might have been decayed, but they have found some bones which had some writing on that, and they have dated that to about 1400 BC.
1400 BC.
Yeah.
So this is a time when in the history religion was becoming quite active. So about when we talk about 1400 BC, that's the time of the Prophet Moses, and in Torah, it is said that they should learn, and then of course other religions might have some sort of things as well. We have to take a short break here. When we come back, we'll be talking about how religion affected education. Did it help? Did it hinder into learning, or what kind of commandments are there from the religious side and how it helped us? Stay with us. We'll be talking more on the religion's role in education.